The ship was massive, so big that it looked like a floating city. It had no name, no signal, and no sign of life. It just appeared one day near a dead star system, slowly drifting through space. The Galactic Council sent its best scientists, soldiers, and engineers to investigate. Every known species wanted to control the ship. Its surface was made of an unknown metal, cold and smooth. There were no doors, no windows, just a single glowing entrance that opened only when someone stepped near it. But the moment anyone entered, the ship stayed silent. The control panels lit up briefly and then went dark. No matter how many experts tried, no one could make the ship move. Dozens of alien races tried for years. Some believed the ship was broken. Others thought it was cursed. Many said it was a weapon left behind by an ancient race. Some even believed it was alive. But one thing was clear: no alien could make it launch. Hundreds of attempts failed. High priests from the Zelkor Empire performed rituals. The AI brains from the Synth Union connected themselves directly. Even the energy beings from the Nebula Swarm tried to merge with it. Nothing worked. The ship remained cold, still, and silent. The Galactic Council began to argue. Some said the ship should be destroyed before it became dangerous. Others wanted to tow it to a research lab. But there was a problem. The ship couldn't be moved. Every tractor beam, every force field, every ship that tried to pull it away failed. It was as if the ship had roots in space itself. And so it floated there for years, untouched but watched by all. Around it, space turned quiet, as if the universe was holding its breath. Then one day, the Council made a strange decision. They opened the ship to all species, including the low-tech ones. Even the humans, who were seen as backward and wild, were invited. Most aliens laughed at the idea. What could humans do that no one else had done? They were new to space travel. Their technology was primitive, but the Council was desperate. They had nothing left to try. And so, a small human shuttle was allowed to approach the ship. On board was a mechanic named Jack Ryder. He wasn't a scientist or a soldier, just a regular engineer from Earth. He had no idea why he was chosen. Maybe because no one else wanted the job. Maybe because he volunteered when no one else would. The Council told him to try anything. Touch buttons, walk inside, stay calm. Jack wasn't sure what to expect. As his shuttle connected to the ship, he looked out at the massive hull. It was black like space, with silver veins that pulsed faintly. The door opened for him without sound. Inside, the walls seemed to breathe. He stepped in, heart pounding. The ship was bigger on the inside. It stretched in every direction. Lights followed his steps. The control room was empty, but something about it felt familiar. Jack reached out. His fingers brushed over a panel that was cold and dark. And then, light. The ship shivered, like it had been asleep for a long time, and was now waking up. Panels lit up in patterns. The floor beneath his feet moved gently. Air began to flow. The entire room changed color. Somewhere deep in the ship, a low hum began. Machines came to life. Screens showed symbols and then words. English words. Jack's name appeared on the screen. Outside, alien ships scrambled to respond. Alarms went off across the fleet. The Council didn't know what was happening. From their view, the dead ship had just come alive. And it was because of the human. Jack stood frozen as the lights danced around him. The ship wasn't just waking up, it was reacting to him. It felt like it had been waiting for someone. Waiting for a human. Why? Who built this ship? And why was it hidden near a dead star? These questions raced through Jack's mind, but he didn't have time to think. A voice echoed inside the ship, not loud, but deep and calm. Pilot confirmed, it said. System activation complete. Awaiting command. Jack's breath caught. He wasn't dreaming. The ship was talking to him, and it had chosen him as its pilot. Outside, the other alien ships watched in silence. No one knew what would happen next. Some were afraid. Others were angry. But all of them understood one thing: the ship was no longer dead, and a human had just taken control. Jack didn't move. He stood in the middle of the glowing control room, heart racing, eyes wide. The ship around him was fully awake now. Soft lights pulsed along the walls. Symbols shifted across the panels, forming patterns and images he couldn't understand. But then, slowly, the ship began to speak again. A voice filled the room. Not human, not machine. It sounded calm, almost like it was trying not to scare him. "Welcome, Jack Ryder. You are the first. System unlocked. Mission incomplete. Awaiting input." Jack blinked, unsure if he was imagining it. He hadn't said anything. He hadn't touched anything after that first moment. Yet the ship seemed to know everything about him. His name, his job, maybe even his thoughts. He stepped forward carefully. The panels didn't resist. Instead, they adjusted. One of the seats shifted its shape to fit his body. A screen unfolded in front of him, filled with stars and strange coordinates. A symbol appeared that looked like Earth's sun, but older, faded, almost forgotten. Outside the ship, the Galactic Council's fleet watched in confusion and growing fear. The alien observers sent emergency signals. Their sensors showed energy levels rising inside the ship. The once dead engines were now warming up. This was impossible. No species had ever made the ship move even a little. And now it was responding, only to a human. Council leaders held urgent meetings. Some wanted to stop Jack immediately. Others said to let it continue. Maybe the ship would reveal its secrets. But everyone knew one thing: something big had changed. Inside, Jack sat slowly in the command seat. The moment he touched the armrest, the screen in front of him zoomed in. It showed an old star map. Parts of it looked familiar, but much of it was from unknown parts of the galaxy. Places even the Council hadn't explored yet. A path was highlighted in gold, like a trail waiting to be followed. Then a new message appeared: destination locked. Press to begin launch. Jack stared at the blinking symbol. His hands trembled slightly. He looked around the room. "Why me?" he whispered. The ship replied, "Human DNA accepted. Legacy key identified. This vessel was designed for your kind." Jack's heart skipped a beat. "Designed for humans?" he asked. The ship responded with one simple word: yes. Jack had no idea what that meant. Humans had never built ships like this. Nothing on Earth came close. Was this ship from the future? From the past? From some lost human civilization? Or was it something even stranger, made by an ancient race that knew humans would come one day? As Jack sat thinking, the door behind him sealed shut. The ship no longer allowed entry. Several alien engineers had tried to follow him earlier, but the ship blocked them. Now, outside, their voices shouted over the comms, trying to reach Jack. "Human, step away from the controls. Do not launch the ship. You are not authorized." But Jack barely heard them. The ship was speaking again. "Do you accept the role of pilot?" it asked. Jack swallowed. He didn't know what to say. He was just a mechanic, not a hero or soldier. But something deep inside told him this was no accident. The ship had waited for someone like him. Maybe for centuries. Maybe longer. He nodded slowly. "I accept." The ship responded instantly. A loud, deep hum echoed through the chamber. The floor vibrated slightly. Outside, lights across the hull began to shine brightly. Then, without warning, the ship lifted itself from its position. It had been floating in space for years, unmoving. Now, it rotated slowly, its engines glowing blue and white. The alien fleet panicked. Dozens of ships moved into position. Weapons locked onto the ancient ship. Orders flew back and forth. "Do not let it escape. It's too powerful. Stop the human." But the ship didn't seem to care. It moved like it was alive, dodging beams and missiles with ease. Energy shields flared around it, blocking every attack. Nothing touched it. It wasn't just flying. It was dancing through space. Inside, Jack held on tight. The ship moved with him, as if it understood every instinct. He didn't know how to fly it, yet it felt natural. The controls responded to his thoughts. When he wanted to turn, it turned. When he felt danger, the ship raised shields. It was more than technology. It was something else, connected to him. Then, just as quickly, the ship stopped. It hovered in space, far from the alien fleet. A large screen opened in front of Jack. It showed the Council's ships in the distance. Then the ship spoke once more. "Message ready. Do you wish to speak?" Jack hesitated. Then he nodded. A signal was sent out to every ship, every screen, every listening station in the Council fleet. Jack's face appeared, calm but serious. "I didn't plan this," he said simply. "The ship chose me. I don't know why. But I'm not your enemy. I think this ship was waiting for a human. And now it's awake." The signal ended. Silence followed. But the galaxy was no longer quiet, because the ship had launched, and for the first time in history, it had a human at the controls. The galaxy held its breath. Every species in the Council was watching the human and the awakened ship. Many feared what it meant. Some believed it was a sign of war. Others thought it was a mistake that needed to be corrected. But none of them understood what had really happened. The truth was older than any of them knew. Jack Ryder sat alone in the command chair. The ship floated silently in space, far away from the Council fleet. He stared at the strange star map in front of him. More golden lines were now glowing, stretching across unknown regions. Each line ended at a symbol. Some looked like stars, others like keys or eyes. The ship was guiding him, but he didn't know where or why. All he knew was that it was meant for him, meant for humans. The voice of the ship returned. "This vessel is known as the Ark of Fire. It was created by the Origin Makers for their chosen heirs. Humans were selected. You are the first to answer the call." Jack frowned. "Origin Makers?" he asked. The voice replied, "A race long gone. Their last gift was this ship. Only humans could unlock it. Only humans can complete the mission." Jack leaned back, trying to understand. Earth had no record of such a race. No history, no legends. He wondered, was humanity older than it believed? Were they seeded across the galaxy, forgotten, hidden, until now? As these thoughts circled his mind, the ship began to move again. Stars passed by quickly. It was faster than any known technology. Jack couldn't feel the speed. There was no shaking or sound. It was like the ship bent space around it. In minutes, they'd reached a strange system filled with floating debris. Broken ships, shattered stations, ruined moons, the remains of a massive battle. Jack stood from the chair and walked closer to the screen. "What is this place?" he asked. The ship answered, "Here, the last stand of the Origin Makers took place. They fell protecting their legacy. Now it must be claimed again." The wreckage floated silently. Some of the ships looked completely alien, round, glowing, organic. Others looked more mechanical, like old war cruisers. Jack saw symbols etched into the metal. Some of them looked oddly familiar, like parts of Earth languages. The ship glided through the ruins like it remembered the path. Then, without warning, it stopped before a dark, ruined object, a large station, barely holding together. The ship spoke. "Inside is the memory core. We must retrieve it." Jack hesitated. "Do I go in?" he asked. The ship responded, "No, I will go." Jack felt the ship shift. A small drone detached from its side, glowing with blue light. It flew toward the broken station. On his screen, Jack saw the feed from the drone. It entered the ruins carefully, avoiding debris. Inside, it found a chamber covered in dust and ice. At the center was a cube, shining softly. The ship's voice was calm. "The memory core holds the last knowledge of the Origin Makers, their message to humanity." The drone lifted the cube gently and returned. When it reconnected, The ship grew silent. Then the lights dimmed. A new voice began to speak. It was deeper, older, more human. A recording. To the children of Earth, if you are hearing this, we have failed. We fought to protect you, to hide your future. But they found us. They destroyed everything. Only this ship remains. You must rise, discover who you are, and finish what we began. Jack stared in shock. The message continued. You were scattered across galaxies, hidden among the stars. Your power was locked until the right time. You, human, are the key. The ship will guide you, but others will try to stop you. They fear what you might become. The message ended. Jack sat in silence. It was too much to understand. But one thing was clear now. This was not just about one ship. This was about all of humanity. Something hidden in their past had been unlocked. Something powerful. Back near the Council fleet, panic was growing. Spy drones had recorded the ship's movement and the message. Now, every leader feared the same thing. If the humans were truly the heirs of the origin makers, then their position in the galaxy was about to change forever. Some races wanted to destroy the human before he learned too much. Others wanted to capture the ship and control it. Secret meetings were held. Plans were made. Fleets were mobilized. Jack didn't know it yet, but he had just become the most hunted man in the galaxy. Inside the Ark of Fire, Jack stood up. The ship asked, "Shall we continue?" He took a deep breath and nodded. Yeah, let's see what they were trying to show us. The engines lit up again. The golden path on the star map grew brighter, and the ship vanished into the stars, heading toward its next destination, carrying the only human who could awaken the truth. The Ark of Fire moved through space faster than light, following the glowing path only it could see. Inside the ship, Jack Ryder sat quietly, watching the stars rush past. His mind was spinning. He had left Earth as a simple mechanic. Now he was the pilot of an ancient ship built by a race no one even remembered. A race that claimed humans were their heirs. He didn't feel special. He didn't feel ready. But the ship had chosen him, and the path ahead could not be turned back. The ship's voice broke the silence. Next destination, Sentinel Point. Last active defense station of the origin makers. Warning, it may still be active. Jack leaned forward. Active how? The ship replied. Defense systems may target all ships, including this one. Jack frowned. Then why are we going? The ship answered. To retrieve the second key. Without it, the full mission cannot be completed. Jack didn't like it. Flying into an ancient war station with live weapons sounded like a bad idea. But he trusted the ship now. It had protected him so far. Maybe it knew something he didn't. Within minutes, the Ark dropped out of faster-than-light travel. Before them floated a giant metal ring, slowly rotating around a dead planet. It was massive, larger than most cities. Guns and turrets lined its outer ring, frozen in place. The whole thing looked quiet and abandoned. Jack whispered, "That thing still works." The ship replied, "Only one part. The core remains active. It must be approached carefully." The Ark moved slowly toward the ring. As they passed through its outer layers, red lights flickered on. Jack felt a sudden jolt. Then the ship stopped. "Warning," the ship said calmly. "We are being scanned." A few tense seconds passed. Then the red lights blinked twice and shut off. The Ark resumed its approach. Inside the station's central core was a chamber, sealed for thousands of years. The Ark created a bridge of light from itself to the chamber. Jack crossed it carefully, stepping onto solid metal. The air was dry and cold. The walls were covered in strange markings, almost like stories carved in steel. In the middle of the chamber was a pedestal. Sitting on it was a silver orb, pulsing faintly. Jack reached out and picked it up. Instantly, visions filled his mind. Images of tall figures, glowing stars, human-like children being taught by beings of light. And then, fire, war, screams. The figures fell, one by one, until only ruins remained. Jack dropped the orb, gasping. The ship's voice spoke gently. You have seen the fall. Now you carried the second key. Your path continues. Jack returned to the ship, orb in hand. As soon as he stepped inside, the ship absorbed the orb into its systems. The lights brightened. New parts of the ship came online. A large map appeared in front of him, showing many golden dots across the galaxy. These are hidden stations, the ship said. Each holds knowledge, power, and purpose, but they are not safe. Before Jack could ask what that meant, the ship's sensors lit up. Incoming vessels, it warned. On the screen, several Council warships appeared. Their weapons were armed. A voice came through the comms. It was cold and sharp. Human pilot, you are in restricted space. Power down your ship and prepare to be boarded. Jack stood up, his voice calm. This ship doesn't belong to the Council. It chose me. I'm not surrendering. The voice replied, then you will be destroyed. The ships opened fire, but the Ark moved like lightning. It dodged blasts with ease, its shields glowing bright. Jack didn't have to give commands. The ship acted on its own, protecting him as if it was alive. Energy beams shot from its sides, disabling 2 Council ships. The others pulled back quickly, shocked by the speed and strength of the ancient vessel. Inside the Ark, the ship spoke again. They will not stop. They fear what you might learn, what you might become. Jack tightened his grip on the armrest. Then we move fast, before they can stop us. The ship's engines powered up again. Stars stretched before them. But before they left, the ship paused. It sent out a pulse, a signal, broadcasting a simple message to every system. The hares have returned. The Ark is awake. The trial has begun. Across the galaxy, that message caused chaos. Some remembered old warnings. Others searched forgotten ruins. A few ancient species began to whisper again of a time before the Council, of a secret power sleeping in the stars. And deep within the Council chambers, leaders gathered in fear. We must stop the human, one said, before he unlocks the final gate. But Jack was already gone. The Ark had taken him deeper into the unknown, toward the next key, and the truth buried in the stars. The stars shimmered as the arc of fire slipped through space. Jack Ryder stood in the center of the glowing control room, eyes fixed on the golden map now shining brighter than ever. The second key had awakened something deeper in the ship, something older. New systems came online. New paths appeared. And more memories played in his mind at night, showing him visions of the past. He saw the origin makers teaching young humans how to control energy, to bend matter with just thought. He saw machines that could shake planets and ships that moved through time. Jack didn't understand all of it, but one thing was clear. Humans were meant for something far greater, something forgotten. The ship's voice pulled him from his thoughts. Next destination, the Vault of Echoes, final resting place of the third key. Warning, time distortion detected. Prepare yourself. Jack raised an eyebrow. Time distortion, he asked. The ship answered, inside the vault, time may move differently. What is minutes for you could be hours, or years outside. Jack took a deep breath. He was starting to understand that this journey wasn't just about flying from place to place. Each stop was a test, a challenge, and this one sounded different. The Ark entered a strange system with 3 suns. In the middle of the twisting solar winds floated a dark sphere, half buried in a glowing cloud. The ship slowed down, drifting close. This is the vault, it said. No one has entered since the fall. Jack prepared to leave the ship. The Ark opened a door, revealing a narrow tunnel of light stretching from the ship to the black sphere. Jack stepped in without hesitation. The moment he passed through the light, everything changed. He was no longer standing in a tunnel. He was on solid ground, an endless, empty plain under a red sky. Shadows moved in the distance. The vault didn't look like a place. It felt like a memory. A voice echoed around him. It wasn't the ship. It was deeper, older. "Who walks the path of the hares?" Jack answered, "I'm just a man. The ship chose me." The voice replied, "Then face the echo. Face yourself." Suddenly, a figure appeared in front of Jack. It looked exactly like him. Same face, same clothes, same tired eyes. But the other Jack's eyes were colder, smarter, sharper. The two stood silently for a moment. "You think you're ready?" the echo asked. "You think waking an old ship makes you strong?" Jack didn't respond. The echo stepped forward. "You've seen visions. You've touched lost power. But you're still afraid. Still small." Jack clenched his fists. "I didn't ask for this." The echo nodded. "No, but you didn't run either. That's why you're here." Without warning, the echo charged. Jack barely dodged the first strike. The fight was fast and strange, like trying to punch a reflection in water. But every time Jack stood back up, the echo looked more impressed. "This test is not about power," the echo said at last. "It's about will. The origin makers believed in your kind because you never give up." Jack stood firm, bleeding but unbroken. "Then let me finish what they started." The red sky split open. A beam of light fell from the sky, wrapping around Jack. The third key, a ring of spinning light, floated down and merged into his chest. Jack gasped as waves of knowledge hit him. Names of systems, blueprints of machines, secrets about the council, truths no one was meant to know. Then everything vanished. He was back inside the Ark, lying on the floor. The ship spoke gently. "You have passed the vault. The third key is within you." Jack sat up slowly. That place, it felt like it was alive. The ship answered, "It was. The origin makers built the vault to test the mind and soul, not the body. Few could survive it. Fewer still could accept the truth it shows." Jack stood, walking toward the main screen. The map had changed again. Now, only 2 dots remained. 2 final keys. 2 final steps. But the peace didn't last long. An alarm blared. "Multiple ships incoming," the Ark warned. "They are not council vessels." Jack looked at the screen. A dozen unknown ships were surrounding them. Their design was sharp, dark, and fast, like hunters. A message came through. The voice was deep and cruel. "We are the Scourge. You woke what should have stayed buried. Surrender the Ark, or be erased." Jack narrowed his eyes. "What do they want?" he asked. The ship replied, "They were the enemies of the origin makers. They still hunt their creations. They know you are the last heir." The Scourge ships powered their weapons. Jack didn't wait. "Then let's show them the fire they tried to kill." The Ark roared to life, and war began in the stars. "You said." The stars lit up with fire as the arc of fire weaved through the enemy fleet. The Scourge ships moved fast, but the Ark was faster. Its shields flared as enemy blasts hit, and in return, its glowing cannons struck with precision. Jack Ryder gripped the controls, sweat on his forehead. The ship reacted like it could read his mind, dodging death again and again. "They're everywhere," Jack shouted, eyes darting to each red dot on the display. The Ark's calm voice replied, "Do not fear. I have fought them before." Energy pulsed from the ship's hull, forming a spinning barrier that knocked 3 Scourge ships off course. One exploded in silence. Another vanished into a wormhole-like rift. But the rest pressed harder. "They know you hold the keys," the ship warned. "They will not stop. Not now." Jack knew that too. The third key had awakened something inside him, a strange sense of direction, as if he could feel where the final keys were hidden. The Scourge somehow sensed it too. One of their larger ships launched a boarding craft. It latched onto the Ark's lower deck with sharp claws. "Intruders," the ship announced. Jack ran down the corridor, past glowing walls and pulsing lights. The Ark shifted around him, opening doors, sealing off paths. He reached the lower deck, just as the hatch burst open. From the smoke stepped armored figures, tall, twisted, and covered in black metal. Their faces were hidden behind sharp helmets, and their weapons glowed red. Jack didn't hesitate. He grabbed a beam rifle from the wall. The Ark had given him access to weapons only a true hare could use. With a blast of white energy, the first scourge soldier dropped. Another rushed him with a blade, but the Ark's walls shifted, trapping the attacker in a magnetic field. As the last of the boarding party fell, Jack stood breathing hard. "They're getting braver," he said. "Or desperate." The Ark replied, "Both." They couldn't stay. More scourge were coming. Jack returned to the bridge. The ship had already plotted a course. "Where are we going?" he asked. The ship answered, "To the Grave Star, where the fourth key lies hidden." Jack didn't like the sound of that, but he nodded. "Let's go." The Ark vanished into faster-than-light travel. When they arrived, the Grave Star was exactly what the name promised, a dead sun floating alone, its light long gone. Around it drifted hundreds of broken ships, twisted into shapes no longer natural. Jack stared out the window. "What happened here?" The Ark replied, "This was the final stand of the Origin Makers. They died here, sealing the fourth key in a weapon they never got to use." They moved carefully through the field of wreckage. At the center floated a huge, cracked ship shaped like a blade. The Ark docked quietly. "The key is inside," it said, "but not alone." Jack stepped into the dark corridor. The air felt heavy. The walls whispered with ancient voices. He passed through broken doors and halls where no one had walked for thousands of years. In the center of the ship was a chamber with a glowing sphere, floating above a broken control chair. Jack reached for it, but before he could touch it, a form appeared from the shadows. It was not Scourge, not human. It looked like light and smoke shaped into a humanoid form. Its voice echoed without sound. "You are late, child of Earth." Jack froze. "What are you?" "I am the Echo of Ward," it said, a memory left behind to guard the last gift. The sphere pulsed brighter. "If you take this," the Echo said, "you must finish what we could not. The Scourge will come, the Council will lie, and your own people may turn against you." Jack looked at the sphere, then back at the Echo. "Then why give it to me?" The Echo stepped aside. "Because you are still standing." Jack reached out and took the sphere. Light exploded in the chamber. Visions filled his mind again, this time of massive machines, a weapon powered by star cores, and a signal meant to awaken every hidden Ark across the galaxy. When he returned to the Ark, the fourth key merged with the ship. Systems powered up that hadn't been used since before Earth had electricity. Final sequence activated. The ship announced, "One key remains. Then we open the Gate of Makers." Jack sat heavily in the pilot's seat. "And after that?" The ship replied, "You bring the fire back to the galaxy." But there was no time to rest. The ship's sensors lit up again. Council warships incoming. They followed the Scourge's path. Jack stared at the screen. Dozens of ships, all armed, all ready. A voice crackled through the comms. This time, it was the head of the Galactic Council himself. "You don't understand what you're carrying, human. Return the Ark to us, or we will destroy you." Jack leaned forward, eyes steady. "You had your chance," he said. And with that, he locked on the final destination. The last key. The end or beginning of everything. "You said." The stars stretched ahead, cold and quiet, as the arc of fire sped toward the last destination. Jack Ryder stood at the front of the control room, his eyes locked on the map. Only one key remained, one last step. Behind him, systems pulsed with strange energy. The ship felt alive, more than ever before. But trouble followed. The Galactic Council had sent its full fleet. Hundreds of ships closed in behind him, armed and ready. And ahead, the Scourge waited like shadows in the dark, guarding the Gate of Makers. Jack was trapped between two enemies, and both wanted him gone. The ship's voice was calm. Final key located. It lies within the gate itself, but the gate is sealed. Only a hair can open it. Jack narrowed his eyes. Then that's what I'll do. He thought back on all he'd seen. The broken ship no one could wake. The first key hidden in light. The vault that tested his soul. The grave star where legends died. And now, this, the Gate of Makers. The Ark reached the edge of a dark, spinning storm. In the middle floated the gate, a massive ring bigger than a planet, glowing with blue fire. It pulsed like a heartbeat. Alien symbols spun along its edge, and at its center was a floating crystal shaped like an eye. But surrounding it were dozens of Scourge ships. And just behind Jack, the Council's fleet arrived. He was caught in the middle. A message came through from the Council. "You will not pass," said the same cold voice from before. "That ship belongs to us. The keys belong to us. Surrender, and you may live." Jack didn't answer. Instead, he opened a channel to both fleets, the Council and the Scourge. "You all had your chance," he said. "You buried the truth. You feared what humans could become. But now, it's too late. The fire is awake." Then he turned to the Ark. "Open the gate." Light exploded across space. The Ark's energy surged, sending a wave through the Scourge ships. Half were disabled instantly. The others scattered. The gate responded. The spinning symbol stopped. The crystal eye turned. Slowly, then blinked. A sound echoed across the stars. A voice, ancient and powerful. Identity confirmed. Human. Hair of the Makers. Final key accepted. The gate opened. Inside was not just another world, but a hidden space, a pocket dimension filled with glowing cities, machines as big as moons, and other arks. Hundreds of them, sleeping. Jack stared in awe. "This is what they left behind." The Ark replied, "The Makers built this place to restart the galaxy, but only a human could unlock it." But peace didn't last. The Council, desperate and afraid, launched their attack. Beams of light filled space. Jack watched as the first blasts flew toward the Ark. And the Ark answered. Power that had been sleeping for centuries awoke. Shields bloomed like stars. Weapons charged. The Ark struck back, not with destruction, but with control. Enemy ships were shut down, turned off mid-flight. Council ships spun out of control as their systems failed. Still, some kept coming. Jack activated the beacon. A signal shot through the gate. Inside the hidden dimension, the other arcs began to stir. One by one, their lights flickered on. One by one, they rose. In seconds, Jack was no longer alone. Hundreds of arcs, each as powerful as his own, formed behind him in perfect formation. He gave the command. Drive them back. The Council fled. The Scourge vanished. The galaxy changed forever. Inside the gate, Jack stepped out of the Ark. The air felt different. Pure. The world was ancient, but clean. Waiting. Machines approached, not weapons, but builders. The Makers' technology. They scanned Jack, then bowed. "You are the flame reborn," one said. Jack looked up at the sky. 1,000 stars. 1,000 choices. "What now?" he asked. The Ark answered from behind him. "Now you lead." Jack didn't feel like a hero. He felt tired. But he also felt ready. He sent a signal back to Earth. Humanity, we were never just survivors. We were meant to shape stars. Across the galaxy, people listened. On council worlds. On dying colonies. On broken ships and backwater moons. And when they saw the sky change, when they saw arcs flying once again, they believed. In the end, no alien could launch the ship, but a human did. And the galaxy would never forget what followed. Let me know if you'd like a custom YouTube intro hook or voiceover script for this series.